In Montessori education, you'll often hear teachers referring to the culture curriculum. Basically, in Montessori education, culture means everything that isn't math, geometry, or language. Culture encompasses social studies and science. In the book To Educate the Human Potential, Dr. Maria Montessori says, "Since it has been seen to be necessary to give so much to the child, let us give him a vision of the whole universe. The universe is an imposing reality and the answer to all questions. We shall walk together on this path of life, for all things are part of the universe, and we are connected with each other to form one whole unity." Before we talk about what we teach in the culture curriculum or how we teach it, I guess we should talk about why we teach it. Dr. Maria Montessori said, "From 6 to 12 is not enough to love and understand the child. The teacher must love and understand the universe. When he was small, it was enough to call him by name, but now we must call out to his soul and his interest." One of the most important things that characterizes children of ages 6 through 9 is that this is the time when they are fascinated with the world. They want to know everything, and they want to know why, and they're fascinated with so much. And our job is to provide it for them and provide them the opportunities to learn about everything they're interested in. This is really a foundational time for developing that love of learning that we hope will last a lifetime. We group these subjects into what we call strands, and there are 5 different strands. There is astronomy and physical geography, political geography, history, physical science, and the life sciences, which include botany, zoology, and ecology. One thing that's really amazing about Montessori education is that students are given context for all of their learning. You start with the whole, and then you study the details to enhance your understanding of the whole. And with astronomy and physical geography, chronological context is given as well. Students learn about the universe, galaxies, stars, solar systems, planets, moons, layers of the sun, layers of the earth, plate tectonics, continental drift, earthquakes, volcanoes, fold mountains, block mountains, landforms, erosion, crystallization, the rock cycle, solar energy in the earth, constellations, the water cycle, and so much more. During the lower elementary years, students between the ages of 6 and 9 are trying to internalize a sense of the passage of time. Many of the activities that we do in the classroom are to help them with this. Dropping marbles into a jar, to count the school days of the year, filling out temperature and weather graphs, family timelines, birthday timelines. All of that is very purposeful to help them internalize that sense of the passage of time. We actually study the history of time as well, and during remote learning, you've seen many of those lessons. The year and its parts, days of the week, months of the year, the seasons, centuries, decades, millennia. After the students have had some experience with the different terminology for the measurement of time, and we use golden beads so that they can see it mathematically, we move into the actual study of history. Dr. Maria Montessori was deeply affected by living through 2 world wars, and she believed in looking at history from a positive viewpoint and looking at the amazing accomplishments of human beings. Fundamental Needs of People is a strand where students will study about the basic needs that all humans have, such as nutrition, shelter, defense, clothing, and they look at those needs and how they were met at different points in history, during the time of the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, during the Middle Ages, and in modern times. And they also look at how those needs were met all around the world. Another way that we study history is by studying the different eras and periods on the timeline of life. The 3rd graders will go into in-depth studies of the Mesozoic, the Cenozoic, and the Paleozoic. And they also go into the different periods like the Jurassic and the Triassic and the Silurian. Students are fascinated with these topics at this age. In physical science, students learn about forces, Newton's laws, magnetism, heat, light, sound, simple machines, everything to do with physical science. And they learn this by actually engaging in hands-on experiments. Political geography encompasses the areas and the names that humans have given to different areas on the planet according to the boundaries that humans have created. It also includes maps and mapping. It includes studying the flags of different countries and the customs of different countries. Multicultural education is a really important part of political geography. Every year, the students complete country research, and we study one continent per semester. This is all encompassed in political geography. The life sciences are botany, zoology, and ecology. And every year we start with lessons on interdependence. Dr. Maria Montessori believed in the connectedness of all things in the universe and that we are all interdependent. The earth and all living things on it depend on the sun for heat and light. After interdependence, we start with classification because so much of science is about how humans classify things. That's how we decide to define and name them. After that, we begin our study of botany and zoology and ecology. Students learn about the different living organisms in the order in which they evolved. They start with fish, and then amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, and then humans. In botany, the students study all different types of flowers and seeds and stems and plants. In ecology, students study the relationships and the interdependence. They learn about biomes, they learn about food webs and food chains, and the relationship between humans and the environment, and ecosystems and habitats. We've talked about what we teach in the culture curriculum. Let's talk about how we do it. These are some of the ideas that are fundamental aspects of Montessori pedagogy. Constructivism, which is to learn by doing. Dr. Maria Montessori paved the way and pioneered this concept. Using materials that are concrete models of abstract symbolic concepts. Providing context for learning, the whole picture, and a chronological picture as well. Providing global, multicultural perspectives. Providing for freedom of movement and freedom of choice. Allowing students to work independently. Allowing for many ways for students to demonstrate learning. Integrating the different subject areas and allowing for research. Individualization of work in the classroom for each student. Uninterrupted work time so that students may focus deeply on concepts that are fascinating to them. And multi-age classrooms where peer learning can take place and where younger students have role models in the older students in the classroom. These are just a few of the really foundational aspects of Montessori education. Dr. Maria Montessori was one of the first, if not the first, educational theorist to state that children learn by doing. Up to the time when she started observing children, the popular theory was behaviorism, which is that people learn by reading in textbooks and listening to lectures. She observed that children actually learn by doing. And I would even say that adults learn best by doing as well. If you think about sailing a boat or baking a cake, the best way to learn to do those things is to actually get in there and do them. So when we're working in a Montessori classroom, we try to use real materials that the students can work with in order to master concepts. A foundational aspect of the Montessori method is using concrete, real, hands-on materials to teach abstract symbolic concepts. This is so important in order to ensure that students develop a tangible understanding of the concepts they're trying to master in language, math, and in the cultural curriculum, which is science and social studies. This is a model of the universe that we created last year at one end of the hallway. It filled the hallway and students were able to get inside of it and really experience what it might look like if you could see the whole universe at one time. It was designed to mimic how galaxies cluster together in things called walls. Having a concrete model of a really complex abstract concept helps students at this age to form an understanding in the brain. Here are some other hands-on models we created last year. On the left is our solar system encompassed by a larger Oort cloud. This can be a really tough concept for students to conceptualize and understand, but when they were able to see it, it really helped. And we went all over the lower elementary building in order to show how the sun with the solar system orbits around the Milky Way galaxy. On the right, we were teaching about the life cycle of a star and the different types of stars.
Ready?
Yes. I have to.
Last year, we demonstrated how a star like the sun can expand into a red giant and then go through a nova, which is kind of like an implosion and an explosion, to create a planetary nebula with a white dwarf at the center. In order to do that, the balloon was our sun. We blew it up to expand and become a red giant. And then Miss Allison popped it, and inside was glitter that expanded everywhere, creating the new nebula, and also a little aluminum foil ball that became our white dwarf. That's what fell to the floor, and students could understand the concept more easily. There are many reasons for providing the big picture or the greater context in learning. We want to help students form detailed frameworks for understanding in the brain. This helps them to connect important information, and it takes advantage of their developmental fascination with the world at this age. During the 6 to 9-year-old developmental phase, students want to know everything about everything. They are interested in the facts as well as the why. They want to know everything about the planet Jupiter and all of its moons, and also why those facts are true. These lessons also set the stage for learning in all subject areas: math, language, physical geography, political geography, astronomy, zoology, botany, ecology, and everything we teach. In Montessori education, because we teach from a whole to parts perspective, we give a bird's eye view of the world. We do teach from a global perspective. Rather than just teaching about Houston or Texas or the United States, we also teach about the world. We teach about the continents, the planet, and the countries of the world. We teach about holidays all over the world. An important goal of multicultural education is to help all students feel represented in the classroom and to help all students understand that there are many different perspectives on our planet. According to research, movement positively affects cognitive development, physical health, and mental well-being. It is a vital component in learning. Dr. Montessori observed this in students over 100 years ago, and her observations played an important role in the development of the Montessori Method. Kinesthetic movement is incorporated into lessons when students are moving and manipulating materials, but they are also able to move in between lessons and to move workspaces. Freedom of choice is important in helping students to develop decision-making skills, time management and planning skills, which both help to develop executive functioning in the prefrontal cortex. An important outcome of Montessori education is students who become independent learners and love learning for life. Students have a say in the follow-up work and projects they do in the classroom. When they want to demonstrate learning, they often come up with the follow-up work. They also collaborate with one another and will work together on projects. Human beings have many different ways of learning, and they also have different talents and intelligences. In order to make sure that we support all of our students, we send home varied assignments. One week, your child might be asked to create a model of a volcano. Another week, your child might be asked to create a Venn diagram to demonstrate their understanding of different modes of transportation. In the classroom, we play games, we engage in role play or discussions to deepen our understanding of concepts. We also draw pictures, sing songs, write stories, and act out concepts such as the life cycle of a star. We try to support all the different learning styles and types of intelligences students may possess. In addition to this, students learn best when information is presented in many different forms. Research has found that the more ways information is presented, the better we learn. Real learning is integrated and connected rather than compartmentalized into separate subjects. Research has shown that it's really important when it comes to critical thinking and higher functioning skills to allow students to integrate learning, meaning that one assignment may incorporate many subjects. When our students did African country research last spring, they were using math, language, geography, botany, zoology, ecology. All of these concepts were integrated together into one assignment. Many Montessori assignments involve research, and your child is getting the opportunity to practice many skills within one assignment. Montessori pedagogy is compatible with the inquiry-based approach in which students generate questions, research, present, and reflect on what they've learned. The 5 E's: engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. The discovery-based approach, project-based learning, and STEM and STEAM. These are all methods that heavily rely on constructivism.